Welcome back to our Federal Insights Secure Tools for a Telework Future, sponsored by Avaya here on Federal News Network. My guest today is Tim Shalvey. He is the Director of Business Development for Avaya. I'm Tom Temin. And Tim, let's get deeper a little bit, if we can, into the security needs because that really, without that, you don't have any customer experience, you don't have much work to be able to do. So what are the elements of security that need to be emphasized or added, as the case might be, as agencies acknowledge simply that more people are going to be working remotely, teleworking more, pretty much from now on?
So obviously we've spoken about unified communications, which is the web collaboration piece that we're on today, all around voice and video communications, web collaborations, and chat. And then we have our contact center services that are available from the cloud as well, which are great for teleworking, for remote agents where needed. And those can both be deployed in a FedRAMP authorized cloud. They come at various levels within FedRAMP, and it's all based on the number of control points. Control points are all around physical security, data security, software security, and are applicable to third-party audits once you get through your own development, and then get authorized by the Defense Information Systems Agency. So with our solutions, we're looking at FedRAMP Moderate, which is, or Impact Level 2, they're pretty much equivalent. And FedRAMP Moderate is at a level which is fantastic for civilian agencies to be able to leverage and put their services up into a cloud offer. And then Impact Level 5 is really more along the lines of Department of Defense. And so we have development in both those areas.
Okay, and that idea of the contact center services agent, in other words, that allows people that are doing interaction with the public, or in the DoD, it could be that they have call centers that serve their own uniformed members around the world, whatever, for tech support and so on, or DLA type support. Then you can have people not necessarily, or not having it all, to be in the physical call center as it's normally thought of.
You're absolutely right. And supervisors, right? So you can have, contact centers, not only the agents, but the supervisors and the management of it. And then also being able to utilize a cloud service gives you the ability to enable a composable architecture. So what does that mean? That means being able to leverage best of breed partners to be able to provide additional capabilities within those contact centers. So some of that is all around self-service, conversational speech, for example, to be able to say what you want and be able to have it handled by an agent or automated. Chatbots via AI, being able to integrate with your help desk, for example, ServiceNow or Remedy. So a lot of what's being done for the Department of Defense is all around calling in, for assistance on whatever. It could be housing, it could be problems with your communications, it could be payroll, it could be anything. To be able to have a lot of that handled through third-party partners that are, set up via composable architecture. And we do that via cloud-to-cloud services. So we may not have all of that in our cloud, nor would other providers, but the ability to integrate, a FedRAMP Moderate cloud with another FedRAMP Moderate cloud, or Impact Level 5 cloud with an Impact Level 5 cloud, and be able to pull those critical services for those, soldiers into that architecture and be able to provide those services out are critical nowadays, because not everybody can do everything well.
So in other words, it's a way of getting past the need to develop new applications with all that entails, and simply plug in capabilities that already exist as a service somewhere.
That's exactly right. And we do a lot of that through APIs, application programmable interfaces. It's kind of an industry term for being able to integrate disparate applications with each other, and really be able to build a great soldier/citizen experience wherever you need it throughout the federal government. Again, best of breed.
So it sounds then that agencies need to make sure that they partner with a central service provider for remote services that itself is plugged in via APIs or other means, but mainly APIs, with best of breed third-party applications that enhance the core work here, as you say, for example, adding AI to a call center or some kind of predictive modeling process to call center for load balancing or whatever the case might be?
You're exactly right. And that's critical. The second piece really is being able to, again, partner with a FedRAMP authorized provider, because that's going to give you the highest level of security. It's going to keep you at the latest releases. It's going to keep your, all of your patches and for security current, so that you've got the latest security profile available. And then, of course, the government provides their oversight of this, and they do their own analysis and recertification on it, a periodic basis.
And we should talk too about the capabilities of the network to support all of this, because some of these services are inherent in the network. And that gets us to the conversion to the enterprise infrastructure solutions deal that is being offered by GSA. Been a little bit slow for agencies across the board to adopt this. Some are not. And are you there? And how can EIS enhance some of the things we've talked about, better security, better user experience for the remote worker?
Sure. So there's 9 primes on EIS, and there's 8 large prime contractors and 1 small business contractor on it. We've partnered with all of them. We work with all of them. We've seen the contracts come out, or the RFPs come out, mainly around replacing current services for networks. They're certainly including a lot of additional contract line item numbers, or CLINs. One of them that they've included is, for us, is important to us, is the IP voice services CLIN, or IPVS. But there's a long list of CLINs that are applicable to our industry around contact center and so forth. Again, we've partnered with a lot of the primes. We've responded with quite a few of the primes. And a lot of it has been around making sure that the government has access to us on those contracts. And then we'll be looking for individual task orders to come out and to be able to bid on specific locations, specific capabilities, potentially for teleworking, as time rolls on. We just responded to a very, very large contact center offer over the last few days. We've been working it for months, but we were able to work with a prime contractor to put in a great response. And in that, we noted that their CLIN structure is fantastic. So that may not mean a lot to a lot of folks listening, but what it does mean is they've broken out all of the individual capabilities so that they understand exactly what the cost is for each one of those capabilities, and can do a great analysis on what their final needs and requirements are.
And you mentioned earlier, and I want to make an analogy here, this idea of the composable enterprise, where you plug and play through APIs instead of programming and so on. And you could make maybe the case that perhaps agencies are slow to get into the EIS because of experience from the old telecom contracts of yesteryear, where switching was a matter of rewiring physically, changing out PBXs, if you really want to go far back, or desk sets. It was a big to do. Whereas here, it's software. You're basically, EIS is software enabled communications. And it's really just a matter of, like the composability, just compose your next round of services using EIS. And maybe that mindset hasn't quite gotten into federal heads yet, that this is how this works. Very different from the old telecom switchovers.
Yeah, you bring up a good point. With APIs, you can have a developer sit down and sit with the customer, for example, and just say, how would you like to improve your citizen or your soldier experience? What are you trying to solve for? And have that developer literally in hours be able to set up that call flow, that video flow, that contact center flow, whatever it may be, right in front of your eyes, and be able to demonstrate it, and then transfer that over to an EIS contract through an RFP process, and be able to turn those services on relatively quickly, compared with the older days where that your vendor, whoever it may be, would have to go into the R&D process and justify it through a large business justification to spend the time and effort and money to develop that capability for that one particular customer. All of that is done literally within hours now through APIs.
All right. So then I guess maybe the general idea here is that we've talked about call centers, but the idea of transplanting the best possible and most efficient workflows that would be in an office are now available through these various services to wherever anyone is. And therefore you get the efficiency of the office regardless of location.
Absolutely, 100%. So, if you're a remote worker, it looks just like an office worker nowadays. All the same capabilities. I think the government is there and has embraced it. Certainly all the enterprise have embraced it throughout the world. We didn't really have a choice. So it was a great time to have I can't imagine this happening 20 years ago when we didn't have these capabilities. It's fantastic they're all here today. And we've got the ability, again, to be able to move that to the cloud and be able to, for all intents and purposes, outsource it into an operational cost model, which gives a predictable price to the government for budgeting purposes year over year, stay current on the technology, stay current on all of the security profile, and build new capabilities as needed.
Tim Chalvey is the Director of Business Development at Avaya. Thanks so much for being with us.
Thank you, Tom. I appreciate it.
I'm Tom Temin. You're listening to Federal News Network. For more on this discussion, please visit federalnewsnetwork.com and search Avaya.